Welcome back. We're gonna be doing week 2 game picks. First game, Houston versus Browns. Uh, I think it can be a good game. Um, but I do think the Browns will be able to move the ball well, and they'll be able to stop Texans. So I have the Browns winning that. Uh, Bills versus Miami. I think the Bills will be able to beat Miami. I think that they'll get pressure. Uh, and I don't think Miami's gonna be able to stop their offense. So yeah, the Bills winning that. Uh, Denver versus the Jags. I have Denver winning. I just don't see the Jags winning it. They had a really bad week 1. I don't think they'll win it. They'll definitely score some points, but I think the Broncos just run the ball and obviously run the ball. They'll be able to pass the ball, and their defense is obviously a really good defense. So don't see the Jags winning that game. This game, uh, Patriots versus Jets. I don't think the Jets will win, but it could be a little close. Uh, the Jets had a lot of pressures last week versus obviously Carolina, which obviously has a bad offensive line, one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Obviously, the Patriots have a really good offensive line, so I don't think the Jets will be able to win, but maybe they'll be able to stop them a couple times at least. They'll definitely. I think they'll keep the game close for most of the game, but I don't think the Patriots are gonna lose that game. This game, Raiders and Steelers. I think it could be a close game, but obviously the Steelers' defense is just obviously really good, and I just don't see how the Raiders get a win against Steelers. I it can be a good game. I think it will be a good game for the most part. But I have the Steelers winning it. Chiefs versus the Ravens. Obviously, the Ravens blitz a lot, and obviously with all the injuries, they're not going to be able to beat the Chiefs. They do obviously. Mahomes does really good against the blitz, so I don't see that. That probably going to be they're gonna Chiefs are probably going to win by at least 2 scores at least. Maybe they'll get like like by maybe like 17 points, somewhere around there. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it could be worse than that. I don't know. But, this game's going to be a very close game. The Bengals had a really good game against the Vikings. Only problem with the Bengals I have, I mean, their defense always looked really, really good last week. Um, their offense. The only problem with their offense is really their offensive line, but it should. It's not gonna do good. I mean, the Rams, they. I mean, the Bears cannot do anything against the Rams. On defense. So I do see the Bengals winning this game. It's definitely gonna be a tough game. But I do think the Bears will win it. It'll be definitely close. Be a very close game. Um, but the Bengals could win. They'll get pressure. And their defense is a good defense. I mean, it looked good. I mean, week 1, they did really well against the Vikings. The problem with the Vikings, they have a terrible offensive line, and that's pretty much the only problem. Is really their offensive line. Their defense started off a little slow. It started to pick back up and allowed them to come back and send it to overtime. It's very good game. But I do think the Bears will get it, but it might be decided by a touchdown or a field goal, probably one of those. It's gonna be a close game. The Rams versus the Colts. It's definitely gonna be a really good game. Well, not really. Well, it's gonna be a good game, but I don't see the Rams losing it. They definitely could, but I think the Rams did allow the Bears to run the ball pretty well. They allowed so I definitely do see the Colts running the ball and doing that. I think they'll run the ball more than they did last week. But I do think the Rams will win it. It could be like the Bears game, maybe a little bit, but I do think it'll be a little closer. I got the Rams. This game's it's one of the harder games to predict, in my opinion, because you got these really good offenses. The Cowboys definitely have the better receiving group, but the Chargers have a really good receiving group. Obviously, the Cowboys have a better offensive line, but it's gonna be a close game. It should be very close. It should be a really good game. It should be one of the better games of this week 2. But I got the Chargers. I think they'll get pressure. They'll definitely create. They'll stop the Cowboys' offense a couple times. This game, in my opinion, I think it's the hardest game of the week, of week 2 to predict. The Titans and the Seahawks. My opinion, I think it can go either way. I just think that I don't think the Titans' defense is going to get a lot of stops against the Seahawks offense, and I think the Seahawks defense is going to get some stops too. I think the Seahawks just score more points, and I think that's where they'll win. They'll just score more points. Titans, they should be able to run the ball. Derrick Henry should be able to get going, but you never know. But I do think it can be. It should be a close game. I don't think the Titans will get blown out like they did against the Cardinals. But I do see I do think the Seahawks will win. I thought the Titans were going to be really good team, but whatever the Cardinals did week 1 was what teams need to do against them, because they could not give the ball to AJ Brown and Julio Jones. They didn't get the ball much. So I think the Seahawks. It's gonna be a really tough game, but I'm just gonna go with the Seahawks. I think their offense will go will do well. And then I got Washington beating the Giants. It should be it should be a close game. The Giants did sweep Washington last year. I don't see that happening. I think that I think there's a better chance of Washington sweeping them than them splitting. So I do. I don't know. I think Washington will be. I think that the Giants will be able to beat them at least once. But I do think the uh, Washington will be able to get pressure. Again, the Giants have one of the worst, maybe the worst offense line in the NFL. So I do think Washington will win the game. It should be a close game. 49ers versus the Eagles. The Eagles, they're definitely a good team. Though they're not a good team. They're a competitive team. The Eagles are a competitive team. They'll be competitive because their front seven is really good. That's their strength. They did beat the 49ers last year, but I don't see that happening again. It's definitely going to be a close game, but I do think the 49ers will be able to move the ball well against their defense, and I think the 49ers defense will be able to stop the Eagles, so I do have the 49ers winning it. And I have the Saints being the Panthers. Saints are dealing with, I think a couple injuries. But I do think it can be it's probably going to be a close game. Most likely. I think the Panthers can score points, but it's going to be a close game. I do think the Cardinals, the Panthers can win it. But I do have the Saints winning it. Then Tampa Bay versus the Falcons. The Falcons did not do good against the Eagles last week. So I don't think the Falcons will win. They may score some points, but I don't see them winning it. Then Vikings versus Cardinals. I think the Cardinals just they'll just sack. They'll just get a lot of sacks in the game, and I think that's how the Cardinals. Obviously, I do think the Cardinals will stop the run. They'll do well against the. They're gonna. It's probably gonna be another blowout win for them. I do see the Cardinals get another blowout win. Back-to-back blowout wins. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think they'll blow them out. Lions and Packers. This game, Packers looked really, really bad last week, but they were going against the Saints, and the Saints are not a bad team. They're a good team. They're a good team. The Packers are a good team, but it's just they could not score any points, and their defense did not do anything. So I do see this game being close. I don't know how close. I think the Lions will. I don't think they'll win. I don't think the Lions will win, but they'll move the ball, and they'll move the ball and score points against the Packers defense. But I do think that the Packers defense will get some stops, and I think the Packers offense will be able to do well against the Lions defense. So I have the Packers. that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and like, share, and subscribe. And as always, I will be back.